Good morning. Today we're doing 5.6 in the Voyage book, which is irregular adjectives that compare. So we talked about adding ER or EST to adjectives to make them compare two or three or more things. But there are some words that you can't just add ER or EST to. And so today we're going to talk about those. Some adjectives that compare are irregular. They are not formed by adding ER or EST. Two common irregular adjectives are good and bad. So good becomes better when you're comparing two things. And if you're comparing three or more things, it becomes best. So you don't ever use the word gooder. Gooder isn't a real word. So instead of saying gooder or goodest, you say good, better, best. And then the opposite of good is bad. And bad, when you're comparing two things, you say worse. And if you're comparing three things or more than three things, you say worst. So they gave us some examples right here. A good snack is a cookie. So that's just one thing. Just saying that cookies are good snacks. The second one, cheese is a better snack than candy. So you're comparing cheese to candy. So that's two things. And then the last one, the best snack of all is fruit. So you're comparing fruit to every other snack in the world. So that's greater than three. Whoops, I did less than three. Because there's more than three snacks in the world, right? Which sentence uses an irregular adjective that compares? A tasty fruit for a snack is an apple. So does that have an irregular adjective in it? My favorite fruit is grapes. The best fruit for lunch is a pear. So which one of those uses one of these 6 words in it? C says the best fruit for lunch is a pear. So C compares pears to all the other fruit. So 3 or more. You were right if you said sentence C. Best is part of the irregular adjective good. Which choice correctly completes this sentence? So we need to decide if we need to use worse or worst. The purple jelly bean tastes even worse than the yellow jelly bean, or even worst. So we have the purple jelly bean, and we're comparing it to the yellow jelly bean. So that's just two things. So up here, it says if we're comparing two nouns, we need to use worse. The correct answer is worse. It is used compared to things. Note that better and worse are often used with than. So worse, and then the word than's right here. So it's the same as when you're doing it over here. The ER, when you're comparing two nouns, you can put than afterwards. Shorter than, deeper than. So same thing with these irregular adjectives. They do the same thing sometimes. Okay? So over here, we need to pick the one that completes the sentence, the adjective that completes the sentence. So I'm going to read the sentence with both adjectives in it, and then we'll highlight the one that's correct. So water is a good drink than lemonade, or water is a better drink than lemonade. The right one is better. Fruit smoothies are good for you than soda, or fruit smoothies are better for you than soda. You're going to say better because we're comparing fruit smoothies to soda, so that's two things. And then in number 1, we're comparing water and lemonade, so that's two things. Number 3, potato chips are worse snack than carrots, or potato chips are a worst snack than carrots. So we have potato chips and then carrots. So that's only 2 things. So we're going to pick worse because worse is used when we're comparing 2 adjectives, or 2 nouns. Apples are the better snack of all, or apples are the best snack of all. So we have apples, and then we have the word all at the end, and it's talking about snacks. So if it says of all, that means you're comparing 3 or more things. So if we're comparing more than 2, then we need to pick this one, best. So apples are the best snack of all. Number 5, a good snack is raisins and celery, or a best snack is raisins and celery. So in number 5, raisins and celery go together, so they're one noun together. So there's only one thing in this sentence. So we're just going to say good because it's only one snack, not a lot of snacks. Which I guess technically I could highlight the word snack, or the noun snack right here instead of raisins and celery, but that's telling us what the snack is. Number 6, this is the blank pizza I've ever eaten. This is the bad pizza I've ever eaten, or the worst pizza I've ever eaten. So we're talking about pizza, and it says ever eaten. So I'm assuming most people have eaten more than 2 pieces of pizza in their life. So we're going to say 3 or more, which means we need to pick worst. Oops, wrong sentence. Next one. Candy is bad for your teeth, or candy is worst for your teeth. So we're talking about candy, and then we're not really comparing it to anything else. We're just saying candy is bad for your teeth, right? So there's only one noun that we're talking about, so that we need the adjective bad because it's only one. Fried foods are worse for your health than grilled foods, or fried foods are worst for your health than grilled foods. So we're comparing fried foods and grilled foods. So that's 2 things. Which means we need to pick the one that's for 2, which is worse. Maybe. Okay. That's all for exercise 1. Now, exercise 2 says use good, better, or best to complete each sentence. So we need to figure out how many things we're comparing in the sentence and then put the correct adjective in. Excuse me. Number 1, blank food contributes to a person's health. So good food, better food, or best food. So food is the noun, and it's talking about one thing. It's just talking about food. So if we only have one thing, so 1, 2, 3 or more. It's a bad greater than sign. So if one thing, we need to put good. And it's the start of the sentence, so it needs to be capitalized. Number 2, strawberry is the good flavor, better flavor, or best flavor. So we're talking about strawberries, and we're comparing it to other flavors. So there's more than just 2 different flavors of something, right? So if it's 3 or more, we need to pick best. So strawberry is the best flavor. Number 3, chocolate pudding is blank than vanilla. So chocolate pudding is good than vanilla, chocolate pudding is better than vanilla, or chocolate pudding is best than vanilla. So I have chocolate pudding, and I'm comparing it to vanilla, so that's 2 things. And it also has the word than in it, and we know that than goes with this part. So if the word than's in it, it's two things. So we're going to put better. The runner gave his blank effort. His good effort, his best effort, his better effort, or his best effort. So he's comparing his effort to the other times he raced. So we're going to say 3 or more. That one's kind of harder to explain, but he's doing his best job. So of all the jobs he's done, this is the best time he's run, or he's tried the hardest. We had a blank time at the fair, a good time at the fair, a better time at the fair, or a best time at the fair. So they're going to the fair this one time. So if it's talking about one time at the fair, we're going to put good. We had a good time at the fair. Fairs are blank than zoos. So we're comparing fairs and zoos. So fairs are good than zoos, fairs are better than zoos, or fairs are best than zoos. So look, it has that word than again, which means we're comparing two things. So we need to put better. Dogs are blank than cats. So we're comparing dogs and cats. We also have that word than again, which means we're going to put better because we're comparing two things. Now the last exercise is to do the same thing, except we're talking about things that are bad, worse, or worst. So the first sentence says, I have the blank cold I've ever had. The bad cold I've ever had, the worst cold I've ever had, or the worst cold I've ever had. So they're talking about they've ever had. Oops, I thought I was highlighting. If it's saying ever, that means all the times she's ever had a cold. This is the worst. So 3 or more times she's had a cold. So this is the worst cold she's ever had. I am blank today than yesterday. I am bad today than yesterday, worse today than yesterday, or worst today than yesterday. The word than is in this sentence, so that kind of gives you a clue. And we have today and yesterday that we're comparing. So 2 days. So if it's 2, then we're going to say worse. I am worse today than yesterday. Number 3, she has the blank luck of all. She has the bad luck of all, worst luck of all, or worst luck of all. So we're comparing she, so the girl, and all the other people in the world, or whoever, all the other people that they're talking about. So 3 or more people. So we're going to put worst. Number 4, Ken was in trouble for his blank behavior. His bad behavior, his worst behavior, or his worst behavior. So we're just talking about Ken, so it's only one person. So we're going to say bad. It's really hard to write on these tiny little lines. Let's try that again. Bad. Number 5. His project was blank than mine. His project was bad than mine, worse than mine, or worst than mine. So we're comparing Ken's project and my project. So that's 2 things. It also has that word than in it, which helps us check that we're supposed to put the word worse. Number 6. The weather today is blank than yesterday. So we're talking about the weather today and yesterday. We also have that word than again. So we're going to be comparing two things, and it's going to be worse again in this sentence. And then number 7, the pool was closed during blank weather. During bad weather, worse weather, or worst weather. So it's just telling us that it was closed during weather, so just one thing. So it's going to be bad. And that is your vocabulary for today. If you want to write this in your writing notebook, you can. The chart of good, better, best, bad, worst, worst. If you want to remember it, or just remember it's on page 120 of your book to use tomorrow when you're doing your vocabulary work, or not vocabulary work, your Voyages work in the small voyage book. Okay, I will see you soon.